Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am free. My vacation officially starts today. Do you know why? Because my children are finally out of the house. They're back in school, and I'm glad because I'm like a walking carpool in the summertime, going here, there, back and forth, and now it's over, so I can have a little bit of freedom. Now I want to show you this market right in the middle of everybody talking about this infrastructure bill and how it's the end of the world and all that. XRP is going up. The market is going up for the most part. We're at $1.84 trillion. We've got an 81-cent XRP, and I want to show you what's happened. Let me hit the refresh. This is over the course of the return rate on XRP. 81 cents, where it's up 9.5% in 7 days, 30% in 30 days, and if you look for the year, 183%. With an SEC lawsuit, with the market having a bad last, whatever, 2 or 3 months, that's quite the return considering all that. Then there was this from Michael at VAL5 Links. XRP is headed for a 20% surge after breaking this key resistance. This is an article. I just wanted to show you this. XRP, the 5th largest cryptocurrency, finally broke out of the long-held price zone. It broke the key resistance of 77 cents and currently trading at 79 with an 8.56% rise. The altcoin is now set for a 20% upward swing if it manages to hold on to its gain. Then we had a couple of interesting tweets from Crypto Bull. Like I said yesterday, XRP coiling under resistance, and here is the breakout. Then he said this morning, XRP is slowly setting up for a big move. Like it. All right, this was on CNBC. This is all about that infrastructure bill. In fact, right now, Rob Portman, I think he was one of the guys that was trying to push that amendment that we didn't want. Listen to what Muhammad Al-Arian says, if I can make him say it. Here we go.
Hey, Muhammad, final question for you as we head to break. We're going to have Rob Portman, Senator Rob Portman, on in just a minute to talk about this infrastructure bill. What's baked into the cake in the markets right now and what isn't?
So the real issue is on the Bitcoin part, and I'm glad you raised it before the earlier break. Is the market? If you look at where Bitcoin is trading today, there's sort of relief that it's not going to be as bad as they thought it would be. In terms of infrastructure, the market expects a physical infrastructure program. It doesn't expect a human infrastructure program, which is a shame.
All right. So there's,
hey, Muhammad, final question for you.
So there's that. Now here's basically, let's see what's going on. I was a little confused because this is what Ted Cruz said last night. Crypto got screwed tonight. There's a partisan disagreement on spending, so Dems objected to all further amendments. That means no vote on the Wyden, that's the one we wanted, Wyden-Loomis, to lessen the damage this bill will do to crypto. And no vote on the Cruz amendment to repeal the new crypto rules altogether. And then he goes on, the result, the Senate's going to inflict billions of dollars of damage on the growing and exciting crypto industry and drive much of it overseas. There aren't 5 senators who understand much of anything about crypto. What the Senate said tonight, let's tax the hell out of something we know nothing about so we can pass a giant bill we haven't read and spend the American people's money on stuff we can't afford. It's reckless and harmful. I like the sound of all of that as far as, that's just common sense thinking. And then Charles Hoskinson had retweeted this, and he said, there you have it, folks. Chuck Schumer effed us all. It's one thing to disagree, but he didn't even let the senators vote. Time to move on to the House. What it's really time for is to put some of these old you-know-whats out to pasture. They don't have any dog in the fight as far as the future of my children. These are a bunch of old crows who need to be retired and put out to pasture so that they don't ruin my children's future, because they don't even, half of these guys probably don't even know, couldn't even tell you their name if it's too late at night. They're so old now. It's disgusting to watch what's being done to this country. Not by any one particular senator, just by a bunch of people who are in this Washington, D.C. bubble and getting paid by all kinds of these different companies and people that do not have the best intentions of this country in mind at all. It's just disgusting to watch it all. But that's Washington, D.C., the sewer. Okay, now there's a few good people there. Warren Davidson's one of them. While infrastructure bill in the Senate right now shouldn't pass, it likely will. Among the many bad ideas in the bill, one has a chance to be corrected. Help stop an ambush on American fintech. Please call senators. And this is Senator Loomis. She's one of the good guys too. Update, we're in a hurry up and wait mode. We continue to push for a vote. I feel very good about the Wyden-Loomis-Toomey amendments passage. If we can get a vote, thanks to you all. I'm discouraged about our ability to get a vote on it or any additional amendment max pressure. All right. Then I went last night and I found this is the guy, Mark Warner. This is the guy who started all of this. Okay. This is the guy that created this problem in the first place. And you need to understand a little bit of his history. This is his quote in this video I'm about to show you. I think the potential at large amongst crypto assets and the underlying blockchain could be as transformational as wireless was years ago. FYI, Mark Warner made over $200 million in wireless. He was an early investor in Nextel. I went and looked it up. So, my point in telling you that, excuse me, my point in telling you that is that these people, these senators who are trying to cause these problems, make no mistake, they know about what the opportunity is. So you have to ask yourself the question, why are they trying to do this? Because they know that tremendous amounts of money are being made. They've just chosen a side is what this means. So I take you back to when Jay Clayton and Chris Giancarlo were in front of Congress. Watch this. You can't make this stuff up.
I'm just worried that we need a much more coordinated effort, because I think the potential writ large amongst crypto assets and the underlying blockchain could be as transformational as wireless was years ago. And I think we're going to need a much more coordinated effort. I know my time's expired, but if you could both quickly comment on that, I'd appreciate it. I believe it is critically important that we coordinate.
One of the good guys.
I believe that we are all both individually and collectively understanding our authorities, understanding this new technology, working around it. There was a communication amongst myself, Chairman Clayton, the Treasury Secretary, and others in connection with Bitcoin futures. And, Bitcoin futures are quite different than the Bitcoin market. The Bitcoin is an anonymous area. Bitcoin futures is fully transparent to the regulator. Bitcoin retail. Bitcoin futures, mostly institutional and high net worth. Bitcoin futures regulated. Bitcoin futures regulated, Bitcoin unregulated. And with Bitcoin futures, we're now having visibility into underlying spot markets and data from those markets that we would not otherwise have.
Completely agree on coordination. Like I said, I break it down into three areas. There's this great technology that I agree with you has promise. There are these pure cryptocurrencies, which we need to take a look at across FinCEN, Treasury, CFTC, Fed, and then there are securities offerings that are called ICOs that should be undertaken as securities offerings, consistent with our regulatory regime.
Yeah. What about that Ethereum? Okay, and here's a second clip. Listen to this. This is unbelievable.
And again, to my friend, we've got this. We're focused a lot on Bitcoin and crypto assets, cryptocurrencies, and I think there's even definitional issues here. But you've got a whole new platform called Ethereum where they're creating, file sharing or extra computer time. I'm not sure what kind of assets those fall into. Are they potentially regulated within your realm, or if there is a trading exchange, a tokenization exchange between excess computer time. I'm not sure where that fits at this point.
The definition of a security, I believe, the people who wrote the 34 Act and the 33 Act, they were smart. They did it on a principled basis, and they basically said, if you're giving people money in exchange for a future development of a business with the hope of a return, and whether that return comes in the form of server time or your ability to sell server time, it's a security.
But there are been, and I concur with the approach you've taken in terms of the ICOs, and I think there's been some very bad behavior. Yet certain ICOs, the SEC has not stopped, others they have stopped. You know, and are you going to go back and re-review the ones that have gone forward?
Let me say another thing about the 33 and 34 Act. When they were written, there was a great recognition that there was a tremendous amount of securities activity in this country, and that we were going to rely on gatekeepers to help us enforce those, and liability to help us enforce those rules. Accountants, lawyers, underwriters, sellers, and the like. I'm counting on those people to do their job, and I've made that clear.
All right, he's counting on them, but he never made them do their job. In fact, he let Hinman go out and say Ethereum was not a security when they both knew that it was. All right, now, another thing you need to know about this Mark Warner is that he's on the Intelligence Committee of the United States. And here's an article from Politico. Senior U.S. Senator calls for Western tech alliance against China. Well, he just actively worked to slow down the U.S. tech industry. So I was wondering who got to him. Then there's this, Jeff Stein. Scoop, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has been privately lobbying lawmakers against the Wyden-Loomis-Toomey amendment as White House seeks to fend off push to limit new regulatory authorities per sources. So she's against what's the good stuff for crypto, the amendment that we were all for. Well, I decided I would go and take a look at some of her public disclosure document. This is the document that you have to file before you can be the Treasury Secretary, I think, of the United States. I think there's a similar document for the SEC chairman. I have been unable to find Gary Gensler's public disclosure document. Anybody that can find Gary Gensler's public disclosure document, please send that to me and make me aware of it, because I would like to show it on my channel. I bet there's all kinds of goodies in that one, because there is in Janet Yellen's and there was in Jay Clayton's, as I recall. Go down, and I do remember going through Jay Clayton's. Well, here, these are filers' sources of compensation exceeding $5,000 a year. Turns out she was a speaker at Apollo Global Management. That's where Jay Clayton is now. It's also one of the top 2 donors for Mark Warner. She was also a speaker at, wait for it, J.P. Morgan Chase. There's J.P. Morgan and the boys, and then Goldman Sachs is on here right there. So if you go through all of these and just think through this, the idea that these people can go and accept payment for all these firms that they're later going to be regulating and in charge of affecting the future of these companies, it's just disgusting when you really start going through this stuff. And there's never anybody, maybe when I was a kid, but not anymore, nobody's ever putting microphones in any of these people's faces, asking them about their conflicts of interest, nothing. It's just, it is what it is. Then you got this, look at this. XRP, you amaze me. This is Jay Clayton. He says, Jay Clayton had a busy day in October 2017. Met with C-suite of Apollo Global Management timely. At the height of the Bitcoin frenzy, no doubt laying the foundation for himself post-SEC. Shame he could never find time to do his job and write policy for XRP investors. So here this guy is on the government dole. Taxpayers are paying him to meet with his future employer after he files. He meets with these guys in 2017. I'm sure he wanted enough time to be between him and going to work for them so that maybe this wouldn't be noticed. But so he meets with all these people from Apollo, later goes and works for them, but not before dropping a lawsuit on XRP. And now he's there where their largest 2 investments in crypto are Bitcoin and Ethereum. and he's there filing for Bitcoin ETFs. You can't make this stuff up. And again, nobody's going to put a microphone in his face. CNBC, not only are they not going to put a microphone in his face and ask him the real questions, they're going to pay him to come on as a contributor and not ask him any questions. I mean, it's the arrogance and the disgusting stench of what's going on over there should really make you sick. Now, here's one. So in the midst of all this, while they all tell us how great Ethereum is, highway robbery, but don't worry, there's no way in hell I would ever pay this. He's showing you the ridiculous Ethereum gas fees, okay? And so I just asked the question, is Ethereum 2.0 a security? I thought it was a pretty good question to ask. And then finally, I wanted to show you this. Look, the core, whether there's one thing we know that's in the infrastructure bill, regardless of how all this goes, and that is they want to tax the hell out of your crypto. So there is one way for sure that we know that you can get around some of this, and that is to open a crypto IRA. You can go to iTrustCapital. I have 2 of them. I'm considering a 3rd. Here's what I'm considering doing, just so you know. I've got a Roth IRA. I've got a SEP IRA, and I'm considering opening a Roth IRA in my wife's name, let her have one too. I believe she can have one. Because if I open that one, then instead of contributing $6,000 a year, I think it's $6,000 right now, I can contribute $12,000, $6,000 to my Roth IRA, $6,000 to her Roth IRA, and then after you're, I think, 59 and a half, all the trading inside of that thing's tax-free, and then when you get to withdraw it tax-free, Peter Thiel style, right? He's the one that turned a few $1,000s into $1 billion in his Roth IRA. That's my goal too. I would love that. To me, that would be my, if I could accomplish anything, that would be my financial accomplishment of my life, is to have $1 billion in my Roth IRA and my wife's. That would be awesome. I'm the Digit, so the links to iTrust, they're one of my sponsors. The links are in the description of this video. There's even 1 month free in there. This is the greatest IRA, the greatest crypto IRA company in the history of the world, and that's the fact, Jack. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that there's some shady goings on up there in Congress and the SEC and Treasury, all